Commissioner Lambert, would you do the invocation?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, we come before you grateful and humble to get to be here tonight, to get to conduct the county's business. I pray over every member of this community, not only what they mean to the county commission, but also the communities that they serve and live in. I pray over our conversation tonight that it edifies you and also builds up the wonderful county and the education system that we have here. We love you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Any of the approval of the agenda?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to add one agenda item, that is overcrowding at Gallatin High School. Make that 10D.
Okay. Should we need to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
Approval of the amendment?
So moved.
I apologize, did the agenda get approved?
Yes.
We
Oh,
haven't
I'm sorry, I didn't say all in favor, sorry. The minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Approval of the amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Jerry Becker and Don Schmidt. And recognition of the public.
We need to actually
Oh,
approve
sorry.
the vote.
Approve the minutes, sorry.
Aye.
Tourism is a little bit more way back, sorry. Okay. And recognition of the public, we have Jeremy Mansfield. We have 5 minutes to speak.
Jeremy Mansfield, 105 Copper Creek Drive, Goodlettsville, Tennessee, 37072. I'm here to speak about the education vote for the removal and switching of chairman. Appreciate everybody, respect everybody here, so I'm not making any derogatory comments toward anybody. I'm just stating my opinion or sharing my observations and what I want to say. I didn't say it from the floor. The chair wasn't my place to debate, so I kept my comments to myself. But I observed 3 reasons that were given from the floor of the commission. I went back and watched the video for the removal of Commissioner Brown and replacement of Commissioner Becker. Reason number 1 that was given was it was stated it was a Facebook comment made by a family member of Commissioner Brown. That was the first thing that was stated from the floor as a reason. I mentioned this in legislative, but I'll say it again. Personally, I find that as a reasoning being given to be, in my opinion, extremely dangerous and unprecedented action. That's subjective, capricious, arbitrary, and cannot be measured. The previous county commission tried to pass a civility resolution to curb the free speech of commissioners outside of commission meeting and on their personal time, which I spoke against at that time in December 2019. At that time, I said it was egregious because somebody could subjectively say they don't like a person's tone or voice or even their opinion, and they would be considered in violation. And being respectful does not mean that we can't be truthful even directly blunt, but I think it's definitely dangerous to censor somebody because of a Facebook comment from a family member. So it's just an unprecedented action. Reason number 2 that I observed given was over school safety concerns for removing Commissioner Brown as chairman. And that was citing school safety concerns over information shared about an elementary school that actually was first talked about from the floor of the commission by an SRO officer during a meeting, and it was subsequently mentioned in a news report about the same elementary school. And I mean this all respect. I feel that it's a little bit of a double standard when I know Commissioner Becker mentioned panic buttons not working at our schools during a commission meeting, which could be perceived as a school safety issue as well. And so I feel if that's being used as a reason for the removal of Chairman Brown, I think that would also disqualify Commissioner Becker under the same standards if we're using equal weights and measures, and that's my opinion. So no disrespect to Commissioner Becker. I didn't say anything at the time. I didn't think anything about it, to be honest with you. And so I don't find that as a viable reason for the removal of Chairman Brown. The question 3 given, or the reasoning number 3 that was given was education amendment for book purchases back in May. And, you know, it was stated that questioning what books were being purchased for before releasing the funds for those purchases was government overreach. I did hear that said, and respectfully, I disagree with that statement because constitutionally, an elected body, this elected body is constitutionally elected with a fiduciary responsibility as a check and balance on government. And what I heard on behalf of citizens that they voiced their concerns that school boards were being given money to buy books before the public even knew what books were being bought. And state law does allow this committee and this legislative body to approve or disapprove of transfers if there is a question. So that to me is not a reason for removal. It's not out of bounds question. That's our job as legislators for checks and balances. Honestly, what I heard from citizens and my constituents about the issue, they find that these lawful checks and balances are necessary since books with graphic depictions of sex acts have been purchased before and under the same processes that Commissioner Brown is actually questioning. Citizens felt that the process of buying books before they knew what was in it was a failure of government. And they commended Commissioner Brown for taking the necessary steps out of an abundance of caution. So I'm just, I guess, appealing, whether it's on deaf ears or not, just to share my opinion. I wish that you guys wouldn't take this vote of removal and just wait until the committee process plays out for the next 2 months. This is, as Chairman Hyde mentioned, this is an unprecedented action. It hasn't ever happened. His knowledge in 31 years of the commission, I've never heard of it. I disagree with it. I don't understand the reasons. I don't agree with the reasons, but I've heard the reasons. And I just feel it's not in the best interest of this body to do this. So I'm asking you to please not vote to remove Chairman Brown or appoint a different chairman until the new body comes in 2 months when we have new committee. So that's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Mayor Janani? Mary Janani, 1100 Oxford Road, Gallatin, Tennessee. I'm here just to kind of reemphasize what I said at commissioning. I felt this was a very unfair process, very kind of double standard. I just want anyone on this committee here to know that if it was you, I would stand up and do the same thing for you, because I respect everyone. Because I feel what Sherry's got. I have copies of Facebook comments, and I have a lot of them from different people and different things that have been said, not only about me and to other commissioners and from other commissioners about other commissioners. And at the end of the day, I don't really care what you say about me, because I am who I am. I know who I am, and that's what matters. But I feel like this is a retaliatory to discredit Mr. Brown. And I think he's done it. I would really like to commend him on his service to the community and to the county. I feel like he has a lot of questions about things that with the school system. I myself have taught, and I know that it's not easy to, balance what you want to do and how you want to teach and what you want to teach. But it's important for you to know, and I have thought about this because I have grandchildren, and really it comes down to a comment that was made by Mr. Smith about what it was the purpose of the education committee to know what the librarians or the people were doing and what books they were. I believe it is your job, because you're spending the taxpayers' money, and they voted for you because they expect you to ask these questions. What are you spending my money on? If I walk down my street and I knock on the doors and I say, hey, the county is getting ready to spend $200,000 on books, and we don't know what they are, but are you good with that? I don't know what they are, but $200,000, would you be okay with that? I have a feeling I know what I would be told, and they would think I was crazy. So it is our job to ask questions, and it is our job to say, hey, there's something wrong here, this isn't right, and this isn't right, what are we gonna do? And like Mr. Wright had said very emphatically, things need to get fixed. And if you cannot speak about it, then how will you know how to fix it and to raise those questions? The school system is not the all of everything. They're not this entity that sits out there that cannot be reached. You have a job to do. And I'd like to know what your purpose is on the education committee, because I've listened to your meetings. And you are supposed to represent the education of this community and the children and the citizens and the parents. With that said, I believe that Ms. Bergdorf should be the rightful chairman until the switch on our next session. She's been the chairman. She does a good job. I see no reason why she cannot continue to be the chairman until this is revoked. I have nothing against Mr. Becker, nothing at all. But I don't think this was a fair process. I think it was a check on Mr. Brown and his credibility. And I just would like you to reconsider what you're doing and just give it to Ms. Bergdorf if you feel it's what you want to do. You can do what you want to do. I'm not telling you what to do. But I would tell you that if it was any one of you in the same situation, I would stand and say the same thing, and I would stand up for you because I respect you and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Joanna Daniel. Hello, Joanna Daniels, qualified teacher, Shadow Haven Way, North Hendersonville. I just wanted to come in and, and talk about this, what is happening to Chairman, Bob Brown, and it actually breaks my heart because what's been done here and what is being done here, it shows a level of integrity and character that it breaks my heart because he was voted in as the chair. And you might not like what he's doing. I'm on a board too, okay? You don't always like what the chair is doing. But that's why you vote and that's why you speak up at the board meeting. Okay? Doing what happened to Commissioner Bob Brown, it just shows that there isn't a lack of respect. And I respect all of you. I absolutely do. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of you. I've done events with a lot of you. You come to my events supporting Safeguard Our Schools, which was exactly about what was being in our schools, which are the books that were in our schools. That is something that he held back because we just wanted to have transparency. This is something that is a national thing. So he was holding it back. Many of you went to school board meetings talking about the books that were in the schools. Today is the first day of prayer month for Tennessee. Wow, what amazing. So today is the first day of prayer for Tennessee. We start today. We're being called to ask for repentance, prayer, and fasting. Our hearts are supposed to go to God. I know that in the Bible it says that we are not to be held accountable for the sins of our fathers or our family members. We can't control what family members put on Facebook. But what we can do is look at the person and go, hey, I respect you. Might have some great family members, I don't know, but I respect you. Okay? We don't hold it against that person because we can't control what other people say. And also, we're called to not have double standards. And our country is founded on the freedom of speech and religion. And we should be able to talk about what is happening in our meetings outside of here and be okay with it, even if we don't agree. So I do believe that Chairman Bob Brown has not done anything unethical. There has not been anything done that he's done that has been unethical that calls for his removal. If you guys go down this path and set this precedent, what precedent are you setting? Honestly. Because you don't like what someone did outside of a meeting? Just saying, today happens to be the first day of prayer. We have a state resolution. I'm going to ask that you pray, and in your heart, really pray about this motion. And I hope that you can live with your decision and be okay for that. Thank you. That's all that's signed up. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be, Mr. Chairwoman, sorry. I'll be brief. Kevin Baker, 424 AB Wade Road. I'm not going to talk about the chairman because personally I don't really care who sits in the seat. But I want to talk about this turf tank. And there's a subtlety in the wording of this document that I think we all need to take note of. It goes back to the whole concept of bleachers or teachers. The $10,000 that we're going to spend every year in Gallatin now is coming subtly out of our pockets, taxpayer pockets. See, if you read this closely, this lease is being transferred from the quarterback club to basically a school account. That means that's $10,000 a year. Now, I don't know about you, but Gallatin plays how many home games a year? 8? 10? So $1,000 to have pretty pictures? That's $10,000 a year, folks. It could be used to help a kid or two learn how to read or do math. Especially in Gallatin, where that school has been on the receiving end of the wrong end of the stick for years. Okay? It's where we also have the highest proportion of children that need a little extra help. And we're going to stand here and say it's okay, and I know it's not in your jurisdiction, but you all need to think about this because it's budget time. And when the schools come and ask for more and more money, this is the old credit card getting whipped out. And at some point, the bill's going to have to be paid, $10,000 at a time. Thank you.
Did I speak? Are you the last?
I think so.
Sir, did you raise your hand?
I did.
Did you not? Could we let our?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And your name?
Yes, it's Walter Chandler, 401 North Court, Hendersonville, 3705. Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually, yeah. How you doing, folks? Appreciate the time to speak tonight. I'm here to speak on Commissioner Brown. Yeah, I'm not liking what's happening right now. As somebody who, at least on paper, in regards to party affiliation, I come from the other side of the spectrum, other side of the aisle, right's right, wrong's wrong. And because of that, and also being a minority and a minority party, I understand about the willingness and need to be able to work across the aisle, work with other people. So it opens you up to having conversations. So even understanding that, I'm listening to what happens, I've listened to the minutes, I've read the minutes, I've watched the videos. No, we disagree on the books, okay? Let's fight about what book lists are going in, what books are going to the school. We can have that argument. But just because Chairman Brown or former Chairman Brown didn't want to see the list of books before approving the budget, okay, that's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that's a small price to pay to make sure if everybody is serious about what books are in the libraries, that you allocate that time to do this. You know, the young lady talked about earlier about she believes it's the commission's responsibility to make sure you're watching what books are going in, not just delegating it to the principals and the librarians. Okay, that's fine. And if that's the case, and if you agree with that philosophy, then that means that Chairman Brown, what he was doing made sense. He said, I'm gonna hold off here until I get the books in, let me review the list, or we as a commission can review the list of books, and at that point in time, we all agree, okay, here's the budget. Because the money's there, the money's gonna come. But we're making sure that the money's not being wasted, which goes to kind of what Nick was talking about, that he thinks another aspect of the budget, which I don't mean to digress, but another aspect of the budget is money possibly being wasted. So, in that respect, I'm gonna sum up with this. I believe Chairman Brown to be put back in his position. He should be allowed to finish his term. And then when we start school year up in about 6 weeks, actually a little over a month, then at that point in time, when the new term starts, we can go ahead and elect new leadership if that's the case. If that's so much what the board wants or whoever votes on it chooses. Thank you for your time.
David Klein, 398 Random Mill Road. I just want to talk for a second about the committee process and what we're doing with the committee process. Seems to me that the committee process is supposed to do the hard work so that we don't debate this ad nauseum in the commission meetings. So there's been talk about endangering students because of discussion that's happened at this table. There's been talk about the library and the book spot. I believe that we as the representatives of our constituency are expected to do that hard work, to discuss the books, to discuss the dangers of schools. And, we have sunshine laws. We can't have these meetings except in executive session to talk about these things. If we don't talk about them here, when do we talk about them? Because they need to be debated. The way all government in the United States was set up to be is for intelligent people to come together, have vigorous debate, and come up with the best solution for the situation, provided all parties are going for the same thing. In our case, it's a better town. In this committee's case, it's a better school system. I don't understand what happened. I understand what happened a couple of months ago. I just don't understand why it did, because it seems to me that the process was working fine, and it went off the rails at some point. So I would encourage you, as you discuss this during this meeting, that you think about why we do the committees, what the objective is, and what we need to understand about them. Vigorous debate, a proper solution at the end of the day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. On to item number 6, vote for the chairman. Do we have a motion?
So,
I'm going to have someone first, I believe, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I'll nominate Shannon Bergdorf as chair.
move through Jerry Becker.
Want to do a second for open for discussion?
I'll second for discussion.
So I will begin.
Why don't we need a motion for discussion? Like a motion for discussion, it's not really needed.
To vote?
Yeah,
To
it's a
vote.
motion to vote. So I just want to make sure are we just discussing, or
Well, they might want to discuss their candidates.
well, you're allowed to do that under a motion to vote.
Yeah, you can either move to discuss and then bring up the vote, or put the vote out there and then discuss, so whichever way y'all want to go.
Yeah, a motion to discuss.
We'll do that a lot.
I know.
So we'll move to have a discussion.
So,
I would like to motion to have a discussion.
And I second it.
Okay.
So
All in
just a
favor?
point of order, what happened to the motion to vote?
Well, it just says vote for chairman.
That's
So
fine.
Don
Okay.
wants you
All right,
to
we'll
be
discuss.
chairman. Daryl has asked for me to be chairman.
Okay.
And before we vote, I would like to speak as having been the chairman for the last month and let you all know that I had item C. I was asked as the interim chairman to go ahead and give Mr. Lawing, and I guess I know this is out of order, but just for the sake of it, I did not feel comfortable making that decision for the board in light of the fact that we did not have a current chairman. That is why I left that there as item number C, and that's all I wanted to say. And as for being nominated to be chair, I would be happy to do that. I was not prepared for that last month's meeting, and I did not support that because I would not support that again. I would not have done that to any of you if you had been chairman. You would have had to have committed a felony for me to have supported some really huge ethical breach of behavior for me to do that. And I feel like I need to say that to you all because we're all on this committee together. And I was not desirous of the extra work, but I was asked to do it, and so I did the extra work. And but now that I've done it, I'm happy to continue in that role for July and August. And due to the fact that it just gives continuity to our process. And that's really all there is to that. Budget is in 3 weeks, and I feel like the bulk of our work is done. So I just would be happy to do that for the committee, for the sake of following in the line of that being the vice chair's duty. That's all. Thank you. Does anyone have else? No? No? Are y'all ready to vote then? All right, I guess we'll do a roll call.
So we need a motion.
Well, then we need a motion to vote.
So I guess, I think Mr. Rogers would go back through and make a motion.
I think that was my motion, was for Vice Chair Bergdorf to become the chair.
Yeah, but they changed it to just discussion, so.
So I'll reinstate my motion then, as for Vice Chair Bergdorf to become the chair.
Correct.
My motion is for Commissioner Becker.
No, we had parliamentarians.
Well, at least got to follow Robert's rules, right? So any more nominations? Yes.
I don't hear any more nominations. Certainly.
Point of order, we don't have a second on either one of the motions, I don't think.
But
You don't need
I'm
a
just
second for nomination.
Correct.
Oh, we don't need to.
Absolutely. Yes.
Finished discussion.
Well, that was your motion, just to discuss. You can discuss on every vote. So that's why I'm saying there's never a need for a motion to discuss, but regardless. You know, I just want to point out, or not point out, I just want to comment on a couple things. You know, I did, back in September in our first meeting, I did throw my name out there to run for chairman. Chairman Brown won that. And so, you know, none of this was, I'll say none of this, but like it wasn't anything of my idea, like, hey, I want to be the chair, I want to be the chair, because, you know, that's not my dream job, is to come in and be the chair. So, when it opened up, you know, I was, you know, hey, yeah, I'll step in, I have interest, but what I would like to say at this point is, I will respectfully decline my nomination at this point and support Ms. Boydor for the chairman spot. So, what's to say?
I'll withdraw my motion, since Commissioner Becker's okay with that. And
I mean, I definitely appreciate the
No,
consideration, but
I think it needs to be known that,
for the record, I'll say I'm very disappointed in the legislative chairman, respectfully, that he is fixated on that this is over a Facebook post. That led up to some of the concerns. I think we discussed that last meeting, what the concerns of the citizens were and the process of how the books were purchased and the leading up to that. At some point, someone asked me, I wanted to mention anything about reckless behavior, and that's where the security issue concerns came in. So if, like I said, from the floor of the commission, I think I made it clear why we're here every week or every month. Citizens have concerns, I'm going to listen to them. I'm happy that the commissioners that did reach out to me and heard these sides, but heard my side. He said I'm very disappointed in the legislative chairman that he didn't have the time to talk to me and really listen, because there was another side to this. It wasn't just a social media post. And I feel really bad for some of the citizens that are being thrown into this and trying to be led to believe that it's over a social media post, because I even said to Mr. Brown, that I wasn't directing the social media post at him or something to that effect. I wasn't blaming him for that. I commend him for his service to our country. I have all the respect in the world for you for that. We just disagree on this. My concern also was a lack of communication. The books, the reason why going back to why that social media post was brought in is because there was a comment that, to the effect that Don Schmidt was given a blank check for pornography with the schools. Well, I had to explain to the citizens that, I didn't know why Commissioner Brown added the purchase of the books to the commission meeting, because I wasn't informed that he was a change of heart of whatever, or what changed his mind. And I just felt like, the lack of communication was a big concern for me and for the parents. We didn't discuss it from the commission floor because it was all approved and approved, so there's no opportunity to do that. So it's, like I said, it's the last thing I wanted to see happen. But, I do, like every one of you have here, we're going to disagree. That's fine. I don't mind that. But when citizens bring concerns to me, what do I do? That's my question. I have to bring them here. I don't, like I said in the commission meeting, I don't look at a citizen's concern and try to determine, where they lean politically one way or the other. I just try to look at the concern and address it, and that's what I did. Citizens I've spoken to want bad stuff in the libraries. No one wants that. They don't set out to do that. They just want to be able to visit the library, being drugged into a political back and forth. And that's what I've seen. And that's for another day with our public libraries, that they're being drugged into another thing too, because they want more hours. But all that to say is, look, if they have concerns, that's our duty. And a lot of us, during the campaign, would run into each other when we're all there for the same reason. But like I said, I have to bring those concerns. It's my responsibility. The reason why I had nominated Mr. Becker is because, like I said in the commission meeting, him and I have disagreed on issues before, but we've had a civil discussion. I've never once seen him from the floor drag my name, or, if he has, I haven't seen it, but I haven't seen, really do that. I think, I will say this, I think anyone wanting to be, or anyone that is a committee chairman of anything, whether it's legislative or the county commission, has a responsibility to remain neutral. And unfortunately, I didn't see that in legislative, and I'm very disappointed. But that said, I'll wrap this up with just saying, hey guys, I hate that this happened, but like I said, I had to bring it far.
Mr. May.
Whenever that agenda item was added to the agenda, it was very misleading, very deceitful. Because you said,
I'm talking what agenda item you referred to. No, I did. I'm just asking what
you said you had concerns.
Yeah.
That's all you said. You didn't say concerns about schools, which that's what I took it as, not an attack on me. Now, that right there was very deceiving. It would have at least given me time if you had told me more about what your concern. Facebook post, you mentioned that too many times as the reason. Bill did, he took something that had never been done, a precedent, and at least gave it some kind of form in legislative. And that was done at the chairman's request. Now, you're saying that all of this is something, and you know, we go back to all the things that you listed, and we had so many things that were out there, and you kept talking about those security concerns right here in this public meeting. And I tried to get you to be quiet about those, and you just continued on. That to me was egregious. But when we continue on down this path, and we just want to take slices at each other, then we're going to end in chaos. We will not be a civil body whatsoever. And it's sad.
You know, I want to quote a president of the United States that I dislike very much, Bill Clinton, who said, "What is, is." This has occurred. It's happened. I would have liked to have seen it resolved at the commission meeting. I couldn't be here, but I would have liked to have seen it resolved at the commission meeting, because this kind of thing, the longer you drag it on, the worse it becomes. But I have a lot of respect for people here tonight, no matter what side you're on. Mr. Becker for stepping aside, Mr. Brown for stepping aside, Mr. Smith for declining to move forward with this. And let me say, there's no way that I or anyone else can change what has happened at this point. Nothing can change that. Nothing can change what anyone has said, has taken. But now is the time, as Commissioner Brown said, to heal and to proceed with some order and decorum and respect for each other, and let this be done. And let's move forward. It would be wonderful. I don't know if it would happen or not, maybe not, but it'd be wonderful if we saw some handshaking tonight after this meeting. Now, I'm not trying to split the baby here, but I am saying, just as Mr. Brown said, we're going to descend into chaos unless reasonable people come to this table and realize where we are and what we've done and where we need to go. So I hope that everything's been said that needs to be said, and it's done. What is, and move on from this point. That's all I have to say, Madam Chair.
Is there anything else? There's a motion to, Jerry Becker, Jeff Don has removed his motion, Jerry removed his name from consideration.
Congratulations, Madam.
Is there, we need to vote. We need to vote on Shannon Berthorpe to be the chairman for the remainder of the term.
I'm assuming we need a vice chairman.
Yeah, I don't want to split hairs here, and
Yes,
it's
we
not
will
on the
need to
agenda,
vote for a
but
vice chairman.
by default, we'll need a motion for that.
I would nominate Jerry Becker.
Second.
It's a very important seat. You never know where you'll end up.
Big Jerry, that's a great point.
I'm like, Mr. Jerry? Oh, so, yeah, we need a second.
Second. I second you.
Okay,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
And
I'll be a no.
Any opposed?
I'll be none.
Okay. Daryl said no. So report as the chairman, I guess I gave it, but I did not number, because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to speak to it. So NC, I did leave it for us all to decide as a board.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we just need to hit that when we get to it.
Oh, okay, well, that was my only report. So that was my report.
Okay.
The county mayor is not here, so no report from county mayor. Director of schools is on vacation. He emailed me last week. So there's no report. There's no old business. New business. For information only. We don't have anything on that. Item B, field stripping machine leak.
I'd make a motion for discussion on that.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. Whenever I was in charge of striping the field at White Creek High School, I did it, my wife did it. We didn't have a drone doing it. That's what this right here is a drone. Striping the football field. That's just too much. Yeah, my finger got wore out whenever I had to do all the numbers for the field. But, we pulled the chains and we striped the football field. That is something that $10,000 just to do. I would love to have $10,000 me striping the field, but that's not something that I think is worthwhile. $10,000 when it should be some faculty member, usually the football coach or somebody on his staff doing it. We want to go ahead and give them $10,000, that's fine, for a drone to start the field.
Mr. Becker?
Appreciate it. I think, for clarification, and maybe everyone knows it or not, but, does each school, I think you commented before me, each high school gets, and middle school, they get a certain amount of money each year, and that's been going on for several years. This is not, my understanding, this is not new money. This isn't what this is just. This happens all throughout the year. It's allocating, moving money from that one bucket into this bucket to pay for it. So this isn't new money at all. It's $10,000. I understand what you're saying. I just wanted to make sure everyone understands that this is common type of.
This is moving it from a fundraising organization to a budget.
Well, yeah, but my comment is that this budget here for the schools, this happens to be Gallatin, that money is already there. They're requesting $10,000 of their money that they already have allocated. So each high school, and I don't remember, I don't know if Chairman Hyde knows, but each high school gets X number of dollars every year for their athletics program.
Yes, those size.
Yeah, okay. So this request is to go into Gallatin's bucket and use $10,000 toward this. And traditionally, and it's been going on for several years, the principal at each of the high schools, working with the athletic director, the coaches, they determine how their bucket has been spent. I know Gallatin, over the past several years, they've been spending all of their money on repairing their old stadium. And so they didn't get help on jumbotrons. They didn't get help on turf fields. Like the other schools got help on those. Hendersonville High School got help on the jumbotron. Beach High School got help on the field clear. Gallatin had to spend all of their money for, I think, at least 3 years' worth on their old stadium to try to repair it, keep it from falling out. I guess it worked. But I just want to make sure I understand. This money is just a simple request of taking $10,000 out of their funding that's already allocated and moving into this line item. So that's all.
Mr. Rogers?
Well, I like how the jumbotrons and everything else happens down below the ridge. In Portland, we are doing good to have a toilet to be used at our field. We've had to ask people who are attending the games to walk down a hill inside the school to use the restroom, and then they can tramp back up the hill if it's raining or whatever, and hope they don't fall and sue the county. So I appreciate that all the nice stuff seems to remain at the bottom end of the county, which is grateful. So I've just looked up turf tank, and it's actually, from what I could gather, is a robot, as they called it, that sits on the field and stripes this field based on GPS coordinates. So I wonder how many times a year is this tank used, and the letter plainly says from Gallatin High School that's a sole source, so that means this is the only company in the world that does it, and that they're going to be moving the money from the Gallatin football quarterback club. Sorry, I was looking for the exact words. The remainder released from the quarterback club, which is sponsored by the public, for the first year, 23-24, and the lease will be paid by the varsity football account for each year. So, I don't know, but I know Portland, we had to pay for several thousands of dollars to be done to our toilets. Let's just call them what they are. And it still wasn't working all year last year, most of the year last year. And then I think a person of the quarterback club finally came in and helped with the help of somebody from the school board maintenance department, finally got it up and going. So that was my question. Do we know how many times a year this will be used at Gallatin High School for the football field to be striped? Because I'm thinking it's probably pretty permanent. I don't know. I'm not a field expert.
I have no idea. I didn't have,
Of course, obviously, when you mow it, it's going to disappear.
Every home game, you have to stripe it, because the grass is going to grow. Sure. They're going to trample it. So this has to be done every time.
That would be, you said 8 games? Is that what you said?
Six games. That's what they have.
$1,000 a game.
About half a game.
Playoffs.
Commissioner Sullivan, did you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, is this, do you know, or do we know, I know Director Langford's not here, is this money from the quarterback club?
That's the way it reads in the packet, that they are transferring money from the quarterback club over to the high school.
Because, I mean,
the quarterback club from the packet, if I read it correctly, they pay for the first year, and the request is to use that. It's like $200,000 something. Somebody in this room probably knows what that number is, but each of the high schools get the exact same amount. And whether it's $200,000 or whatever it is, my understanding is, and Portland's principal can tell you exactly how he's spending. Mr. Long gave me a spreadsheet of how every single high school is used at. If it's I may be wrong with 200, but whatever.
I would hope that you're incorrect. I don't want to say that you're wrong, but I would hope that you're incorrect. That we're not getting $200,000 a year for athletics.
No, that is correct. My number, I think, was 100,000. I think it might have got bumped up, but my point is, from this information here, is that the quarterback club paid for the first year, and this request is to start pulling it from that
another account.
Whether it's 100,000 or whatever that number is to pull it from that number. Capital. It's capital, yeah, it's capital.
And this he's talking about capital.
Yeah, I'm talking about capital,
not athletic account.
And so this capital, this type of device would be considered, capital. Yeah.
Chairman Hyde.
We may be getting the horse before the cart here. I'd like to ask the legal director, unless things have changed, we're talking about picking up a lease, a multi-year lease of a sizable amount of debt that should be approved by the county commission before that's entered into. Is that not correct?
The contracts for the school board would be through the school board. If it's a contract that's
But by law,
county, it needs to come through my office, yes.
And I was reading the cover letter from the Board of Education, and it says that, the lease will be funded through the school's football program, so I don't.
It doesn't matter if it's a local school or the school system that's doing it. If it's if they have a debt exceeding that fiscal year, I think you're going to find that the law says that the county commission has to approve those. But that's merely a question I have. The other thing is,
Well, and that's what the cover letter is asking for. It says pursuant to TCA such and such, they're requesting approval on behalf of Gallatin High School
to do what?
lease this field stripping machine. So they're asking for this commission's approval to do various.
So they are asking to exceed the fiscal year with debt. I thought it was to ask permission to move from one account to another. But anyway, that has to be done. We have got to approve a debt that exceeds the fiscal year. The second question I have that really is a concern of mine is not because it's Gallatin High School or any other school as far as that's concerned. We don't have all of the money that we did have several years ago with the previous county commission. We're trying to hold the line, balance budgets, and live within our means. And it kind of bothers me, to tell you the truth, that we're talking about funding bleachers that far exceeded what we thought it was going to be. And then the schools, by act of the previous commission, have capital outlay money that they've never had before, and as far as I know, in the school system, to fund projects. And it's not athletic projects. From the magnet school, it could be any project. It could be a sidewalk. It could be a gazebo. It could be anything at the school. Most schools are spending it on athletic kinds of activities. But it's local needs as the school decides they want to spend it. Well, that's wonderful. That's great that we have that. But in my opinion, which is worth probably a cup of coffee or not even that much, we're in a place now where we can't even afford the bleachers that we've torn down and need to rebuild, and then we have all of these other capital. How much capital money is out there is what I would like to know. And I wish Mr. Long was here. Do you know how much total it is?
I don't.
I would love to know.
Send me an email, but I can't find it on my phone.
But that could go at least toward the restoration of these bleachers throughout the entire school system. I have several problems, beginning with Tennessee code on school debt. I don't think we can. I think the issue here tonight is not transferring money, but I think the issue here tonight is whether we approve a lease or not, to allow the money to be transferred.
I've not been provided with one, and this is, the only thing that's in the packet is an amendment which basically changes the responsible parties to the Gallatin High School, and I can't give you any insight on what the contract says just based on an amendment. The other thing is the appropriations issue, which is exceeding a year, so
right.
we've got that.
And I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to overstep the bounds of my job as a commissioner and take on the responsibility of the Sumner County Board of Education. That's not what I'm saying here. But I have some fiscal concerns about how we are spending money. And I respect the board and their right to make decisions, but I just have some big question marks about this. And I think before we do
So I want to make a mention here that I know the principal of Gallatin fairly well, but I want to make a note that I've had zero conversation with him about any of this. So what I said earlier, that's my assumption. I don't want to be wrong in my assumption, so I would like to make a motion to defer this to next month, and hopefully Dr. Langford can show up and speak.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So now to discussion, item C. Yes,
I want to drop D.
you want to drop D? So,
We need to get to D first, then we can drop it. So C.
oh, yes, yes. C, discussion, education, budget joint meeting on July 15th. I was asked by Finance Director David Lawling, if we were amenable to meeting with them, and I think at the time was at 4 o'clock. I just wanted you all to tell me yes or no, and then I'll work out the time. It's July 15th.
4 p.m. Is that what you said?
I think it was at 4.
It's 4 o'clock.
Yes, at 4 o'clock.
And that's the joint.
Is that because
But
they
they're
anticipated?
but they're scheduling times, so we might be able to schedule a different time. If you, what time would be better?
4's fine with me.
4 o'clock.
Can we suspend the rules?
Yes, sir.
You might have some information maybe, or?
Yes. Suspend the rules, yes.
It's 4 to whatever, and whenever the question is 5 or 6.
Right.
I mean, choose education.
Right.
It wasn't like you had to be at 4, but just want to clarify.
Right, we can pick a time, that's what I'm asking, so that it starts at 4. So do you want to get budget when they're fresh, or do you want to hit them when they're
So
tired?
the budget starts at 4?
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be at the joint at 4, if you got one at 5.
Right, right. That's what I'm
And
asking.
typically, the education committee has to approve a budget before the budget. So if they're meeting.
Well, the last year we did it together.
Correct. But within that meeting is education and budget.
Yep.
And so if budget meeting at 4, we can't meet
So
later.
could we meet at 4, and then I'll tell them we'll be ready at 5?
Well, we'll meet at 4. We'll meet at 4 just in the same session.
You can do that, but
Yes.
the point was, we're not just doing education budget. It's a lot of.
Right,
we're
yes,
doing
I'm
a lot of-
aware.
We did that
Yes.
education, but you can do it
So
whenever.
what time do you all want, to meet here?
4?
Yeah, I'm on those.
4 o'clock?
May I check my
Yes, you
calendar,
may check your
my work
calendar.
schedule real quick?
I don't want to be the lame duck, but 5 works better. I'm just right down the road. Getting off.
I can do either one.
I like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, let's do 5.
5 o'clock? Okay, 5 p.m. And then Commissioner Brown has asked, do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Joint meeting.
Is everyone in favor of meeting at 5 o'clock on July 15th for, our education budget meeting? Everybody, all in favor? Okay. Yes.
2 weeks.
Sorry. And then, Mr. Brown has asked to remove item D. Do we need to vote on that?
Motion
We have
adjourned.
one more motion.
Second.
Motion to close and take a vote.